Have a blessed day, fellow students and teachers. We are Alocada, Tristan, Noel L, Factor Mae L, and Portuguisa, Meca L. Today, we will be presenting our task, the readers of the Sulu. However, before we start the discussion, we prepared a short clip with regards to the readers of the Sulu documentary film. Let's watch this.
The raiders of the Sulu Sea.
When the lion captured people, they would bore a hole through their palm, put a string through the palm of each person.
These raiders were fierce and fearless in battle, even against their armed, technologically superior colonial forces.
Readers of the Sulu documentary film was produced by an old film production. This production was founded by Zahirat Banu Kodili, the CEO, along with Lim Suwatian, the COO, and Jason Lai, the director of content, in 1996. Inside this production, they produced documentaries, educational films, telemovies, corporate films with film companies from different countries throughout the year. Readers of the Sulu documentary film was directed by Mr. Edswan Oldman, a product of agreement between Media Authority of Singapore and Korean. The film running time is 48 minutes and 43 seconds. It was first released on 2007 for Q Channel Korea and distributed internationally by Looking Glass International through Discovery Channel History on 2008. We have here AK informants. First, she is Isel Gloria, a art historian from Zamboanga del Norte. She is a 7th generation direct descendant of Vicente Alvarez, the hero of Zamboanga City during the research and the arts and culture of Zamboanga. We have here her educational background. First, she have first degree at the Western Mindanao State University and finished Bachelor in Science, major in Home Economics. Then, second degree at the UP College of Fine Arts, major in Art History. Next, we have Dr. Samuel Tan, an historian at National Historical Institute. He was a Samatausog Chinese Filipino born in Sulu, an authority in the issue of moral history, armed struggle, and quest for self-determination. He was a MA UNESCO degree and UP Diliman and PD in Interdisciplinary Studies in Syracuse University, New York, USA. He was a published author and served as chair of UP Diliman Department of History. He was an authority on the issue of the moral history. Next, Barbara Watson Andaya, a historian at National University of Singapore. A Christianity and religious change in Southeast Asia. 15th present, women and gender in early modern Southeast Asia, social issues, and contemporary Southeast Asia. She is Professor of Asian Studies at the University of Hawaii and Director of the Center of the Southeast Asian Studies, educated at the University of Sydney, and obtained her MA in History at the University of Hawaii. Next. Dr. Julius Bautista, a historian at Asia Research Institute. He was an associate professor at the Center of Southeast Asian Studies at Kyoto University, Japan. He was previously a senior lecturer at the Department of Southeast Asian Studies at the National University of Singapore. He obtained his PhD in Southeast Asian Studies, Anthropology, and Cultural History at the Australian National University. He subsequently published on religious practice in Asia, with a focus on Christian iconography, religious piety, and the relationship between religion and the state. Halman Abu Bakar, a Tausug descendant at Sulu. He was a Tausug, a member of the educated Abu Bakar clan. He was a former city councilor of Sulu, an exponent of the martial arts of CEAT. Also, he shares the sentiment of his people at Tausug in the moral community in general, who represents their characterization by Western colonial and Filipino historiography as pirates. Dr. Margarita Huangco, an author. She was a Filipino politician, philanthropist, and socialite. She was the former chairman of the Kabalikat ng Malayan Pilipino or Kampi Party and a member of the Council of Philippine Affairs or COPA. She is a columnist in the Philippine Star and was a candidate for a seat in the Senate in 2000. She was the governor of Tarlac on March 10 to September 24, 2004. In addition, she studied at University of Santo Tomas and finished her Master in National Security Administration or MNSA at the National Defense College. Next, what was Raiders and the Sulu Sea? Raiders, a personal attacks an enemy in the enemy's territory, a maraud. Sulu Sea. The Sulu Sea is a body of water at the southwestern area of the Philippines, separated from the South China Sea in the northwest by Palawan and from the Celebes Sea, the southeast, by Sulu Archipelago. Now, we have here the background of the Raiders of the Sulu Sea documentary film. First, the documentary film is focused on southern Mindanao, Zamboanga City. It is about the slave breeding activities and economic activities of Muslim tribes. These tribes were the Balangingis Samal tribe, na Ilianans, and the Tausogs. Then, they document the facts how Muslims execute slave breeding. The film showcased the Muslims' maritime skills and sword skills, and the conflict between the Spaniards and Muslims. The film also shows why Muslims resist against Spaniards. Who are the leaders of Sulu Sea? The leaders of the Sulu Sea are the Iranan or Ilianans, the Samal Balangingi, and Tausog. Who are the Iranans or the Ilianans? They were portrayed as merciless in the documentary, inhabited the Hanab Bay area in southwestern Mindanao, whose language is intelligible with Maranao. They were fierce marine force of the Sultanate of Sulu. The Samal Balangingi, one of the Sam communities that originally inhabit the Tungkil Island group. They were relocated to Zamboanga Peninsula coast and island as a result of the 1848 military campaign. The Tausug or people, the Tau of the current, the Sug, constitute the people of the Sultanate of Sulu or Lupasug and speak the Tausug language that is related to the Batuanola dialect. Next. Slave breeding. What was slave breeding? Slave breeding when the Muslim capture people to make them a slave. Slave breeding when people pretend as if they are fishermen. Slave breeding when the Muslims would bore a hole at both hands at the center of the victim and enter the rope so that they could not escape. Slave reading is still legal at that time. Muslims and Spaniards conflicts. So, what are those Muslims and Spaniards conflicts? At that time, Spain is attempting to colonize Mindanao. They want to spread influence about their cultural and Christianity to the people in Mindanao. Next, the Spaniards built fortress to defend themselves from attacks. It was called Fort Pilar. The Fort Pilar was the front line of Spaniards, and it is important to see a route between northern and southern region and the Philippines. Next, Rahadalasi was planning to attack Zamboanga City together with the joint force of the Sulu Sultanate. Then, Sulu and Maguindanao Sultanates. These two are the two main kingdoms which control the Muslim colonies of the southern Philippines. In addition, on December 8, 1720, the Muslims attacked Fort Pilar. It was led by Rahadalasi. He was the king of the Bulig in Maguindanao. And their reason for attacking the Fort Pilar was by reason of the Spaniards' attempts to spread their culture and Christianity. Then, when the Spaniards counterattack against Muslims, they used their advanced technologies to overwhelm the Muslim tribes. On December 8, 1720, Rahadalasi led a 3,000-strong coalition of warriors against 600 Spanish soldiers at Fort Pilar, Zamboanga City. The slave raiders' attack on Fort Pilar was poorly conceived. As market fire cut through their ranks, there were no reinforcement to lend the raiders support. According to Isel Gloria Estrada, the forces of the Sulu Sultanate came in a month after, so there was a very poor condition. Next, another factor that led to Rahadalasi's eventual failure was his demise. And his demise was the betrayal of his own brother. His betrayal would seal the fate of the last raiders. Isel Gloria Estrada added, his younger brother, who was jealous of his position, turned traitor to Rahadalasi. His younger brother went to Tamontaka, who left the kingdom and wrote a letter or a warning to the governor of Zamboanga, warning of the impending attack. By the reason of that, Rahadalasi and the raiders failed the battle. Next are the leaders of Sulu Sea pirates. According to the historian Professor Barbara Watson Andaya, explained all books that talk about piracy deal with the problem of terminology, using the word English. Word pirate is actually misleading in some respects because it doesn't cover readers. It doesn't cover people who act on behalf of the state. Next, we have Halman Abubakar that explained maybe Spain only wanted to Christianize Sulu, force-feeding us with something that we don't believe in. It's like oppression. So we go to war. When you call us pirates for doing that, it's your decision. But to us, we are fighting for something that we believe in. We are freedom fighters. It is our fight for freedom, freedom from oppression, freedom from not losing your identity. What a great thought. Next, the Sultanate eventually lost their political and economic hold in Sulu, and it was gradually identified under the jurisdiction of the Philippines government, but it retained its autonomy. Today, The once wealthy and powerful sultanates are a distant memory. This southern region of the Philippines faces new challenges, social, economic, and cultural, but something seems like did not change. 600 years on, and there are still conflicts in this region. Moreover, Halman Abu Bakr exclaimed that, "I don't want my children to grow up seeing Hulu like this, because wherever they go, they will still be Tausug. They cannot cover that. I don't want them to be embarrassed with their homeland. I want to be an example that we can change everything. We can get back what we lost. Let Hulu stand up again. Let them realize how glorious our Hulu is before." That's all from our presentation. We hope that we all learned from today's lesson. Moreover, before we end this presentation, we wanted to share our learning experience through working on it. The readers of the Sulu documentary film, total impact is rather outstanding because it not only provided insights into the subject, but also served as an eye-opener from everyone in the audience by illuminating the Philippines' terrible century before. It was intriguing to discover and how inspiring this narrative movie was as a student. Even though it did not turn out well, our fellow men continued to stand up and fight for the oppressor, even if it meant risking their lives. They fought until their last breath, as long as they recovered their independence. That's all for today. Thank you for cooperating. God bless us all.